grow and thrive. And we're committed to supporting companies and employees in Greater Louisville as they innovate to upskill, attract talent, and develop and grow. And so this event series is really all about spotlighting the good work that's happening in our community, and there's so much of it. So we are bringing together industry experts and workforce partners who are doing amazing work that could be emulated in a variety of industries and sectors in order to continue lifting up the level and skill of talent that we have here in our community. We're super excited to have this event today in partnership with the Advanced Manufacturing and Logistics Network and the Health Enterprises Network. And we'll be featuring the partnership between Norton Healthcare, UPS, and Metro College. They've developed a pathway from package handler to RN, and we're going to hear all about how they've developed that. As we get started, I'd like to introduce Derek Bland, Vice President of New Business Development with HJI Supply Chain Solutions and Chair of GLI's AML, Advanced Manufacturing and Logistics Network. Derek, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you, Jesse. And as Chair of the Advanced Manufacturing and Logistics Network, I'd like to welcome each of you to this very important webinar. The AML Network works to unite our diverse members to support sustainable growth in the manufacturing and the logistics industries. We enjoy a cross-industry membership of small to large companies throughout the entire Greater Louisville region. Our goal is to represent the manufacturing and logistics industries on common priorities such as workforce development, talent attraction, and retention. We're thrilled to partner on this event as our industry is sustained through stable, diverse, and well-educated talent pipelines. And partnerships like the one you'll learn about today are imperative to the growth of the advanced manufacturing and logistics sector. Kudos to Norton, to UPS, and to Metro College on their hard work, and a call to action for other companies to consider working with GLI to build similar models. I'd like to now introduce David Henley, who is Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer at University Healthcare and Passport Health Plan, and also Health Enterprise Network's Board Chair, to welcome his members and to share a little more about their network. David?
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today. Welcome. Glad you took the time out of your busy schedules to be with us. This is so important. Thank you for your engagement. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on him. I'm going to talk a little bit about our strategic plan and then talk about a couple of activities we've got going on. We are just excited. We are engaged. We're moving forward. COVID-19 is not going to hold us up. We're going to make a move this year. Are you as excited as I am? Well, let me start with a little background on him. The Health Enterprise Network is the region's premier healthcare business network. It was formed in 2000. Yes, we've been around since 2000, and we are an affiliate of GLI. Our membership has got about over 50 different organizations, and we've got hospitals, health plans, health service organizations, medical device manufacturers, and even leading professional organizations like law firms and accounting firms that are all part of the enterprise network. Our mission is to champion and foster the growth of the region's health-related economy and to identify opportunities to promote Louisville as a location of choice for health-related businesses, researchers, educators, investors. And in order to push that, what we've done, the board has come together and said, we need a strategic plan that fits the environment today and carries us forward. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our strategic plan. It's built on 4 different pillars. The first pillar focuses on collaboration with the healthcare ecosystem by identifying critical partners who are driving success in the community and collaborating with them on various things going on. The second pillar focuses on economic development by partnering HIN member organizations with the region's efforts to attract and grow healthcare businesses. Our third pillar is to drive value to the healthcare community through events, policy discussions, and educational opportunities, much like this event today. And finally, the fourth pillar focuses on branding and messaging and will help drive the conversation about innovative stories of Louisville's health-related companies. Some things I'll just mention that we've been involved with lately. One is I've looked at our strategic plan and said, we need a plan that's going to carry us forward, not just for 1 year, not just for 2 years, but beyond that into the future. And one of the things that we want to make sure we have is consistent, effective leadership. And so the board has made a decision to have Tom McMahon, who is Humana's Market Vice President of Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, to be the next board chair who will pick up when I finish at the end of this year. Again, he's working with me now to make sure that he is doing things consistently and understanding things that we want to accomplish, and that'll move us into the future. So we're very excited about that. In regard to ecosystem collaboration, Tom has already begun to meet with some of those major organizations in the healthcare ecosystem and begin to talk with them about how we can collaborate. And what we're hoping to be able to do is maybe on a quarterly basis, get together and talk more about how we can do things together to move the healthcare ecosystem forward. We've got our Healthcare Fellows program, and McCarran is very involved with that program. We think it's a premier program as well, and it takes those healthcare professionals and gives them a cross-section of what's happening in healthcare. You know, we've got a lot of good professional programs across Louisville, and they're all very good. But if you're in the healthcare area, you need to be in the Healthcare Fellows program, and we welcome you to explore that program. Also, in this time, this unprecedented time, we believe that it's important for HEN to be on the forefront of pushing health and making sure that we are doing things from a diversity and inclusion standpoint. And so we have formed a diversity and inclusion committee, and we're moving forward to form that up to really get out there in the community and make sure, number one, internally that we've got diversity of women and people of color on our board and our committees. And then secondly, with all the events that we're doing, that we make sure we reach out to those communities and get them involved either as speakers at those events or to at least be attending and having the opportunity to tell people about what they're doing as well. So that's really a little bit about HEN. Thank you again for the time. I'd encourage you to go out on the HEN website and take a look at some of the things that we've got going on. And certainly if you have any questions directed to anyone, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David, getting us fired up with that enthusiasm early on. We love to hear that. And we'll get right into the panel. I really want to encourage you guys to kind of take notes along the way. We will have a pretty definitive call to action at the end of our time together. But please jot down your questions because we'll have time for you all to turn on your cameras or raise your hand, enter your questions in the chat box, and really ask some questions that are unique to maybe your company or industry to our panelists. So we'll move right into it. And I'm so thrilled to have these three women with us today. Kim Saylor, Christy Ralston, and Courtney Abboud. They are three trailblazers in the workforce development sector. So I'll go ahead and start and kick it over to you guys and just have you quickly kind of introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role at your organization and sort of how you came to adopting this model, how you kind of fell into the champion at your organization. So Kim, we'll start with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Saylor, and I'm the Education and Workforce Development Supervisor here at UPS. I have been with the company for 30 years. I've had the privilege of working with our Metropolitan College program and students for the last 18 years. It's wonderful to work with our students and watch them reach their career and academic goals. With this, my role at UPS is I work closely with Courtney Abboud and our Metropolitan College, with our Metropolitan College partner on the daily operations for the program from the UPS side of things. And also we are working together to create these career pathways to provide that roadmap to our student employees. We want them to be successful. So what we want to do is along the time they're working at UPS and a Metropolitan College participant, we want to be able to help guide them on that path to their career at the end of their academic journey. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks, Kim. And Christy, why don't you follow up?
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Jesse. My name is Christy Ralston. I am the Director of Workforce Development here at Norton Healthcare. I've had the pleasure of being at Norton Healthcare for about 12 and a half years. My background is nursing as well as human resources. And really, I came to love to work with students and young individuals throughout our community to help them achieve their goals, to help them grow in their direction, and also support the workforce that we need to take great care of our patients and our community. And so this collaboration just was a natural opportunity for us. Many of our nurses have been UPS and Metropolitan College students. And even when I was in nursing school at U of L, many of my colleagues were in the Metropolitan College program. So really an opportunity to create a road where there was already a path created. And I think that that's one of the messages that you're going to hear in today's panel. But ideally create paths, roadmaps, and strategies with wraparound services to help people excel and meet the needs of our community. So thank you, Jesse.
Thanks, Christy. And Courtney, I'm so glad your camera's finally working. Last but not least.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. I am the Executive Director of Metropolitan College. I've had the pleasure of working with Metro College over the last 19 years. The reason why I love Metro College and our mission is because we're dedicated to providing a tuition-free pathway for anyone who wants to access post-secondary education. And we're also strongly committed to finding opportunities for students to utilize their credentials once they graduate and find placement in high-demand career fields in the state of Kentucky. And so one of the things that we've always been trying to figure out is where are the barriers for students to provide that seamless transition from training into the workforce. And then we have the pleasure of trying to figure out how to make it easier for our students. And so this partnership with Norton was a natural fit to what we've been doing over our more than 20 years as an organization.
Great, thank you, Courtney. And so our participants on the call today have just enough information about the partnership to pique their interest in the event description. It's a pathway from package handler to nurse with a structured support system to guide them along the way and ensure that they're able to overcome the barriers to make it to that next step in their career. Can you guys give us more detail? What is this partnership? What does it look like from a participant perspective? And what does it look like from an employer and education partner perspective? And I'll let whoever kind of wants to jump in start us off.
Well, I'll start out. Metro College will pay for tuition benefits and get them started on their career path, but ultimately, we don't want to keep them as an educated package handler. That's not our goal. And Norton is interested in providing tuition benefits and connecting them with career paths. So Metro College makes the investment on the front end and Norton makes the investment on the tail end. So the way the program works is students work third shift at UPS and receive 100% of their tuition through Metro College benefits. During this time, students can take prerequisite courses at JCTC or the University of Louisville in a designated healthcare track. While they're in that process at Metro College, students can attend healthcare symposiums, presentations, shadowing opportunities, all to clarify their career goals with the talented staff of Norton Healthcare. They'll also receive individualized career coaching from Norton Healthcare staff to clearly identify their academic and career pathway and how it fits with their interests and skills. And during this time, because Metro College doesn't have a requirement in terms of staying with their major, they can go in and out of their majors as they're getting career clarification through their Norton partnership with their career coach. They can switch from nursing to another healthcare pathway. Then that process happens the whole time they're in their academic program. And then once they're about 12 to 18 months out of graduation, that's when the handoff occurs to Norton Healthcare. And students really have three options. One option is to continue working at UPS and receive tuition benefits through Norton Healthcare with the intent that they would work post-graduation. The second option is they can stop working at UPS once they get to those clinical classes and high demand time and it's too hard to work third shift, and they can receive benefits through Norton Healthcare, or they can become a student apprentice at Norton Healthcare and work to receive tuition benefits that way. But ultimately, our goal is that you eventually have a college graduate with zero tuition debt who seamlessly transition from the training into the workforce.
That's great. Thank you so much, Courtney. Kim, Christy, anything to add from your perspectives? That was a great overview.
This is Christy. I think that one of the benefits for a student is so many of us as students start off with that, I think I want to go into healthcare, or I think I want to go into this occupational or industry sector, but I don't know the exact job that I want to do. And I want the freedom to where if I change my mind, I'm not locked into any one occupation. And so the exploratory time and the investment that UPS and Metropolitan College make in them during those fundamental years, providing them, you know, all of the skills and the foundations that every professional person needs. Timeliness, critical decision making, clarifying communication skills, all of those core competencies are built at UPS and in the Metropolitan College program. And Norton Healthcare has the opportunity to engage with those students and give them exploratory pieces without the student feeling like they're locked in to any one particular career or occupation. But then when the student is ready to make that commitment to a specific path, we can then take them and transition them to the next level. And so I think it's that beautiful combination, if you will, of exploration and then experience-based learning. So I think that that's one of the great opportunities to take two partners and make them work seamlessly together.
Thanks, Christy. Kim, did you have anything to add in terms of the partnership in general?
With this partnership, we have seen with working with our students the benefit of the seamless transition for the student to move from UPS to Norton Healthcare, and the benefit it's providing, while all along we're providing that support from the UPS side as well as the Norton side, but also that the main thing, that student continuing on that tuition-free pathway.
Well, this is a great segue into kind of my next question for you guys. Is really around who are the participants and how are they recruited? Do I have to already be an employee at UPS or a student through Metro College to qualify for this? Or UPS specifically, Kim, are you guys using this as a recruitment tactic to get high-skilled individuals into that role that you guys need to fill?
We have, through our recruitment efforts, UPS recruits throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We have a great partnership with Jefferson County Public Schools as well as our outer county schools that allows UPS to be able to recruit at the high school level, but also our post-secondary partners, U of L and JCTC. We are given opportunities to actively recruit on campus. So at that point, we are able to explain the job at UPS to these students in both the high school and post-secondary levels. We're also working job fairs and various other community events throughout the state to be able to talk about the jobs that are available at UPS, the Metropolitan College program, and the Norton Healthcare career pathway to these interested applicants. And also, we are providing for our current employees at UPS, we provide communication to them to let them know about this program. And then we also host symposiums virtually or in the past also at UPS that allows anyone who might be interested in the program to come in, talk to us, and learn more about it.
That's great. Courtney, Christy, anything to add from the recruitment perspective for you all, especially Christy being kind of that second tier employer in this model? Has this provided any revelations for recruitment with your team?
Well, I think that one of the best opportunities is to really get to our high school students and get to our early college students and help them decide what they're going to do as early on as possible. We talk about college debt. We talk about the rising cost of education. And the more guided and specific that we can be with those financial investments, making sure that our students aren't taking on unnecessary debt to get education, is really, really critical. And with JCPS's academies, and with engaging with high school students and early college students, this gives us a way as employers to guide, educate, and support our future workforce from the front end, as opposed to waiting until they have the degree or the certification and they come to us on the back end and they've already gotten that debt. It also allows us to let them know about opportunities in different sectors or different work industries that they might not have already known about. And that's one of the great opportunities about working both with the Academies of Louisville and the UPS model. So really having the chance to educate and inform, and again, allowing the students that time to explore their interests. Because, you know, I can't tell you, I'm sure many of you on the call would be able to say, how many times did you change your major as a college freshman, or as a, you know, my son has wanted to be everything from a pizza delivery driver to an archaeologist. You know, I think all of us have those searching periods of time. And so to be able to, an organization like UPS, come in and teach all of those core work ethic skills to really provide that foundation for being a professional person, and then also the freedom to explore different pathways. And that's where Norton gets to benefit from the foundation in which UPS lays. One of the things that I will tell you, and I know we've talked about at great length throughout our partnership with UPS, is while we may be very different industries, you think of logistics and healthcare being very different, we found that from a culture perspective and from a values perspective, we have more in common of what we're looking for in employees than we do that's different. And I think that that's one of the other things that you'll see is that these cross-industry collaborations are possible.
Jesse, the only thing I would add is the importance of both employers recruiting together and jointly. It provides a real comfort level for the student and the future employee, because to them, we just actually had this month, one of our symposium sessions, we had 37 of our Metro College students join online to hear both from Norton as well as Metro College and UPS. And there's really this comfort level to a student to say, oh my gosh, I don't have to navigate this on my own. I don't have to hide that I'm talking to one employer and another. These employers are working together to figure this out for me. This is amazing. And so I think that joint recruitment effort is just so important to creating a seamless and a comfort level in your audience.
So much great information and food for thought. I would be remiss if I didn't take just a quick moment to do a plug for the JCPS Academies of Louisville. For any of you on the call that are not familiar with the Academies of Louisville, 15 of our high schools here in Jefferson County are Academy of Louisville schools. That means that they have career pathways, and they're almost set up in a sense like a university would be, where your freshman year you get to explore the different pathways that your school offers, and then your sophomore year you declare your pathway. Now, some students do enter and they already know what they want to do, and that pathway might be anything from nursing to welding to culinary arts. And from your sophomore through your senior year, you participate in a year-round four-course sequence that ends in an industry recognized certification. So through that structured partnership that they've mentioned, UPS and Norton are able to go ahead and start recruiting students who have had 4 years of patient care content and experience and field trips and knowledge of the companies that they're hoping to work for. So just a shameless plug there, and I already see Kristen in the chat box. If you are interested, you can reach out to Kristen, and we would be happy to explore that partnership with your company as well. And so my next question is, how did this happen? This kind of, it might seem like a pie in the sky type of relationship for some of the other companies on the call. What was sort of the revelation that you all wanted to come to the table and build out this structure and support students in this way?
Well, I think Christy already kind of mentioned this, and that was there were already success stories of students who had navigated the transfer between UPS and Norton. And we already saw from those students their deep work ethic and deep commitment to their education and career pathway and how it benefited both UPS and Norton. But we also saw some of the trials and tribulations of that process, and students kind of struggling with knowing, when do I do this? How do I do this? And is it okay to talk about this with these employers openly? So I think as we were beginning to see some of these onesies and twosies and seeing the success in these great employees, we kind of felt it was our ownership to say, we've got to systematize this. Like, we can't leave it up to just the people that can figure this out on their own. We have to provide the infrastructure to make sure that there's a clear pathway to say, you can get from A to Z and this is how you do it. And all of us are going to help you get there because we all benefit from it.
Christy, Kim, anything to add?
I was going to say, and I can give you, well, not that I will, but we could give you names of people who have been doing this as early as I know since the 90s. And so it really did become something where, as workforce development experts, we felt like it was kind of our responsibility to formalize this. And we saw a way where the student can benefit because they get the great support of UPS. They get the great academic support from Metropolitan College and two of our premier schools in the region, Jefferson Community and Technical College and U of L. And then we get a wonderful, complete finished product. The other piece that we really liked about this is that, you know, while we saw it mainly happening in the nursing occupation, that's where we saw a lot of it, utilizing Metropolitan College and Jefferson Community and Technical College, we can deliver individuals in all types of healthcare in-demand careers, not only nursing. And so it really gave us a fuller scope of options and career options to offer, and also offered more opportunities to students. So we could take something that was a narrow road, perceived as just nursing, and we could expand that to all healthcare occupations across both institutions that they had to offer. So we saw it as a way of saying, okay, let's not just do this, but let's actually make it wider.
So what might you all say, as you're talking, I'm thinking maybe one of the first steps, and we see this in the Kentucky Chamber Workforce Center's talent pipeline management structure, this idea of back mapping your talent flow, looking at your historical data, where are your highest performers coming from? Would you suggest that might be kind of an initial step in this process for companies with a significant number of positions that they're trying to staff for, to start looking at that data and say, who are my highest performers and what was their very past step before coming to me, to start looking for some of those trends? Christy, you said something very powerful the other day when we were speaking. You said, you know, the path was already there. We just needed to kind of pave it and make it official. Would you all suggest that might be a good starting point for companies who would be interested in considering something like this?
Absolutely. You know, I think that's something that a lot of us in workforce development naturally do. We look at, okay, who is building the type of talent that we can then grow? And that, you know, we've been doing that at Norton for quite some time, is where do we find those individuals? Where do they exist? And how do we help them kind of transition to the next step? And so I think that absolutely makes sense, is look at the foundational skills that you're looking for, and then seek out partnerships with those either in institutions or schools or communities, and where you find that skill set.
And Kim, from your perspective, you know, obviously UPS is a champion for workforce development. You guys set the bar very high in our community, but this is kind of voluntary turnover, right? You're hiring people into roles that you know eventually they're going to be leaving you and going to Norton. This is not kind of the most common mentality, I think. And so, what would you say to an employer that their immediate reaction is, I don't want to deal with forced turnover?
From the UPS perspective, with the Metropolitan College program, when this program was created, we recognized and understood that we would not, you know, retain that employee over a long period of time. We do have employees that do stay with us for, you know, for many, many years, which is great. But we also recognize through this program that these students would be moving on. You know, one word of encouragement would be to, you know, definitely, you know, take a look. And with our program, we have over 2,500 participants annually. So with this, with some of these students moving on, you know, this program is you know, well utilized throughout our students in the Commonwealth. So we are able to replace students in the Metro College program and open up other opportunities for students. So our recommendation to employers would be to, you know, when you have a program that's successful, you will have more folks that want to come in and join.
And so this is, again, I love it when the conversation leads to a very natural segue to the next question. And my next question for you all is kind of what has this return on investment look like for your company? Do you have data or numbers that you could share with us? What sort of anecdotal trends have you seen? What has been your benefit?
This is Christy. What I would tell you is that we have a lot of students that come to us because they're excited about working with and receiving support from two of the largest employers in the Louisville metro area. And just that piece gives them some sort of confidence. You know, they know Norton Healthcare, they know to look for the end. They know UPS, they know that they can rely on both of these organizations in critical points of time, and that they don't expect that either one of us are going anywhere. And so I think that that level of reassurance, especially in today's economy, is definitely something that students and parents appreciate. And so I think that we are very fortunate that we have a number of students still coming to us even during this time of COVID, and excited that people are entrusting their students and themselves in this career path. And just quite honestly, I think that people are excited because they know that there's a beginning, middle, and end, that if they do these things and follow this process, that there's a great future for them.
Yeah, and I would echo that, Christy. For us, when you have good employee satisfaction, you have employee retention. And so when we have 37 employees on a call to learn about next steps in their career path, those are 37 employees who are going to stick to it. They're going to come to work every night and move those packages knowing it's just a means to an end. And so they're not going to be moving packages once they have their nursing degree or another credential in healthcare. They're going to be working in healthcare. And so for us and for the Metro College and for UPS, investing in that employee satisfaction results in retention for your students.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the other piece too, is that again, the values and the support structures that are built are reinforced consistently along the process. And so having a team that's as integrated as this one is, you know, and being as seamless in our communication, our construct, our processes, and our execution, and having that accountability within our core team, our core work team, and that trust built is really, really wonderful. And being able to know that it doesn't just go the Norton way. There have been some times where we've referred back to UPS. So, I mean, I think that's part of what a true collaboration is when you're caring about the entirety of both partners or all partners, and you're trying to focus on what's best for the partnership and what's best for the student or the employee.
So I'm curious, you know, as we start to think through what this looks like in a bigger scale in our community, what is the biggest challenge that you all have had to overcome in building out such a sound structure? And what advice would you give to employees who are thinking about participating in a similar partnership?
For me, I would say patience is one of the most important things that you can have, because you're not going to have your ROI delivered within the first year of a partnership like this. So you have to have a commitment to a long-term investment with the understanding that you're laying a groundwork in that first year. You know, one of the practical challenges is when you say, this is what I have to get out of it. So for UPS, we want to make sure that they fulfill those semester by semester work commitment dates. But then you also have the challenge that the student's ready to move on in their career, right? So when I have a student who is ready to go before December is over, but yet we still have a work commitment date of the last day of December to make sure all those packages are moved, Christy and Norton has to be supportive of UPS to say, I get what your ROI is, and I can manipulate and massage what I need so that we both get our ROI here. And so we've had those conversations where I've picked up the phone and I said to Christy, hey, the student that you're recruiting has to finish up their work commitment date for one more month. What can be done? And it's Christy and I working this out, not the student being caught in between two employers trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do? Our communication to the student is, we'll figure this out. We'll get back to you. Just know it's going to work out, right? So for me, the lesson learned is patience. Know that the ROI is not going to come, but two, know that you both have to be supportive of each other's ROI and how you can maybe massage things to make sure that in the end you're supportive.
Kim, Christy, anything to add to that? That was great, Courtney.
No, I really do. I feel like it is. It's you come together and you know, you care about the other businesses' outcomes, and you become invested in their success and in the student's success. And that was just it, you know, me explaining to the student, hey, you know what, you want to stay and get that Christmas bonus, and we want you to honor that commitment to UPS before you come over. So we're going to have your orientation in January, and that's going to work out just fine. And making that happen and being like, you know, no, this is the win for everyone. This is the win for you, for your reputation, for who you want to be as an employee. And it's also a win for Norton Healthcare and for UPS. And so, you know, having that open dialogue, that open data sharing, and being able to review processes and talk about them honestly and openly is the really big thing. So it's kind of nice because we've gotten to learn a little bit about how industry works outside of our sector, the differences and the similarities.
Jessie, can I ask, kind of insert myself in here?
Yes, of course you can, Jackie.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't toot the horn of not only Kim and Courtney, but also Christy, because just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's always going to work. So anytime that you start something new that other people haven't done, expect the bumps. So when Courtney said you got to have patience, sometimes it's patience that they don't want to have built into the process, but you just have to, because as large organizations, it's new. You got to work through some things. So mine, if you ask me what's the one thing you have to have, it's got to be people that are engaged and want to do the right thing and hold each other accountable. And they're accountable to themselves, because if those three ladies weren't, this would have never worked. I mean, you just have an idea and then you're like, hey, can you go make that happen? Sometimes you build it and they don't come. We're very fortunate in this case that we were building it and they were coming and tweaking it along the way. I'm sure it'll, you know, we'll make some changes throughout the next few months, probably, or the next year. The more you find out, the better you can get at the process. Thank you for letting me interject.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And I think that all three of these women on the panel today, their passion comes through. And so before we open it up to audience questions, I've got a laundry list of additional questions I could ask, but I do want to open it up to the audience. But I want to ask you guys, you know, that passion that Jackie mentioned and that willingness to have patience even when things get really rough. Obviously, the three of you believe in equitable workforce development. We've got 100,000 people in our region who are out of work due to COVID-19. Many of whom were working in industries with a significant number of low-skilled positions. Hospitality's been hit to the tune of over 30,000, manufacturing over 20,000. What do you say to other employers to make them understand the importance of this kind of investment in workforce development? Why is this important for our community? Why is this important for people who might not have had the support along the way and a really clearly defined pathway to get to that family supporting wage, to get to their career goals?
I don't think any employer will reach their goals until we can all be committed to finding ways to career ladder employment opportunities throughout our community so that employers and students benefit, and they realize that sometimes career laddering means crossing industries. We need to find meaningful ways in which employers can invest in career education and create awareness of high demand careers that provide living wages. And sometimes the starting point isn't necessarily in the same place where your ending point is. And I think we need to support organizations who have high demand entry-level positions that aren't necessarily career positions, but they have an important place in our economy. And so how do we leverage those entry-level positions to employers who have living wage positions, that do have positions that require some level of post-secondary education? And then how as a collective unit do we come together and make post-secondary education accessible and then provide that navigation? And we will all benefit from that kind of partnership in our economy.
Agreed. This is Christy. So I think that one of the strengths that has come out of COVID is this realization and a sense of community. And I've seen it. We've taken care of our small businesses. We've tried to support each other across industry sectors. We've looked at retooling and creative ways using technology, et cetera, to get things done. And so I think this is just the beginning of this conversation as to how do we get creative as Louisville to say, no, our students aren't going to be left behind, or our unemployed aren't going to be left behind, that there are opportunities to retool these folks in hospitality or in manufacturing or in other sectors and take their skills and their talents and bring them towards other opportunities. And not only is there an opportunity to do that, but we're going to create, as Courtney said, a path to get there. And so I think that, quite honestly, that's, Jesse, I know you've got a call to action, but I would say this is my call to action, is what are we going to do with the opportunity that faces Louisville? And, you know, as we move forward and we hopefully beat this COVID thing, how are we going to be a stronger workforce community in the future?
Kim, I'm sorry. I feel like you've got me short into the stick chiming in last, and it's always so hard to go last when the folks that go before you have such.
No, that is absolutely fine. I echo what both Courtney and Christy have said.
Well, we really appreciate you guys being here with us today. We've got about 10 minutes for questions from the audience. And audience, don't you worry if you're shy. I've got many more questions, but I would love to hear what you're thinking, especially from your unique perspectives in your own industries. Feel free to turn on your video and chime in, or if you feel more comfortable, just typing your question in the chat box. So we'll have this little pause here, our moment of awkward silence on the Zoom call, to see if anybody has burning questions. And then if not, I can start with mine. Okay, we've got one here from Joe Franklin already. He says, how do we create venues for corporate leaders to help upskill, or to help upsell skills attained from what we deem low skill positions?
I think that that's a good one. And I think that, quite honestly, it's really having someone in your organization that can take a look at the transferable skills that individuals have. So that's really where I think UPS and Norton Healthcare have been very fortunate in the fact that we have career coaching and career development resources and departments and individuals that are skilled in those arenas to look at transferable skill sets, to look at educational background, to look at interest and aptitude as far as what do people want to do, and then to also address barriers that might get in the way or need to be considered when someone wants to look at an occupation. So I think that's the piece is that as employers, and I don't mean to be mean, but I think gone is the day that we can expect that someone's going to arrive on our door already all assembled in the perfect package. We're going to have to get involved in workforce development from a frontline perspective. And if we don't have those resources available or aren't interested in investing, we may lose out to those who do.
Great response, Christy. We've got another question here from Wanda Shaw. Do many of the career paths encourage continual education or going further into a graduate program? So once the student receives that BSN, are they going to follow in Christy's footsteps and stay in school for the rest of their lives?
Well, I just finished. I finished June 26th. June 26th, I finished my master's program. So thank you very much. But no, and that's one of the things is each of these career paths that we're supporting across the healthcare industry. We have our Norton Scholar program, our education assistance programs, and our career coaches continue to help individuals upskill and advance. Yesterday, I was just filming for respiratory therapy. They're a clinical advancement ladder. I've done so for surgical technology. Really, all of these occupations, as one of our respiratory therapists so cutely said yesterday on the video, sky's the limit. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity for continued advancement in education.
And I will say this too, Jesse, as a part of Metro College, we require our students to do career assessments, to look at workforce data. So that understanding of how degree obtainment relates to salary level and progression within an organization is provided as a foundation in our program. And then that's further leveraged with the career coaching they receive from Norton. So it's really a nice synergy between the two programs and talking about how does that degree obtainment enable you to kind of progress in the economy.
That's great. Anyone else in the audience? I've got one more question that I want to make sure we get to. Anyone else want to chime in here with another burning thought? So Birgit has a great question here. Does this include, or are there plans to tailor this to offer these opportunities to foreign-born individuals, refugees, or immigrants?
Well, I will tell you a number of those individuals are already participating in our programming as it is, especially in our JCPS Academies of Louisville components. But you're absolutely right. As we continue to look at increasing inclusion and diversity across our community, and as we continue to partner with JCPS and the Academies of Louisville, both UPS and Norton Healthcare are working with specific schools with large populations that offer the opportunity for us to support and include all people across our Louisville metro area. And so you're absolutely correct. We are being very specific and targeted to make sure that these resources are available to everyone who seeks them.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask my last question here before I move to my call to action, and I think this is an important one. Obviously, Norton and UPS are two of our biggest employers, and you all have the resources and the amazing talent on your HR teams to be able to support a program like this. So I wonder what is the cost and investment from the company perspective in both time and dollars to keep a program like this afloat and to develop it to begin with?
I mean, for both partners, I think where we started was an audit of our current assets. So what did we already have in place as organizations that we just need to leverage? So we didn't put any additional dollars into this partnership. We maybe put some elbow grease into it, but we already had tuition benefit program, and so did Norton, and that aligned. We already had employment opportunities, both of us did, and that aligned. And so I think what it's important to do if you're interested in a partnership like this is to ask yourself, what resources do we already have in place? Where are the gaps in our resources that maybe another organization could fill and be complementary in? And then what is our ROI? What do we have to get out of this to feel like this was of value to us to put ourselves out there, our time and energy into this kind of a partnership?
Christy, Kim, any final thoughts to add on that?
I would just say that, you know, we were very fortunate that we did have a lot of alignment, but that's truly what it was. It was, what do you have? What do we have? How can we align? And values, quite honestly, that aligned as well. And I, you know, being from healthcare, we're all about values, but I think that was another easy layer that made it realize that we could help each other and it could be mutually beneficial.
And I think too,
agree.
we would often come to the table and we would say, you know, we got to create a marketing piece. Who on our teams has the most accessible marketing folks that we can work with to make this happen within the next couple of weeks, right? And so I think the fact that we all came to the table without saying, I'm only going to give this one thing if I get this one thing back. It was just this collective, we're all going to put into this to make sure it happens. And so those shared resources, being able to come to the table and share those resources is really imperative to creating an effective working relationship and collaboration.
Absolutely. It wasn't like, oh, I'm giving you one thing, so you're going to give me one thing. It was like, no, this is the right thing to do. And it doesn't, no one's really counting who bought lunch last. We're all excited just to get to be in the room with each other and find a common solution to this challenge.
Well, I've got one more question here that just came in, and Kim, I'll direct this one to you. This might be a planted question, but Pat is asking, are there other industry sectors that UPS is willing to partner with?
Yes, so with our Metropolitan College program, our students have the opportunity to study a wide variety of degree programs. And with these industry sectors such as construction, technology, and the various, high demand career fields, we are, UPS, Metropolitan College, we are definitely interested in talking with other partner employers, and also our educators to find out what are those sectors and how can UPS and Metropolitan College be a part of that.
And I would add to that, Jesse, I would invite folks to go to the Metro College website and click on the Career Pathways navigation.
Absolutely.
In the top right-hand corner. That will give some of our participants an idea of other ways in which we're able to create some seamless industry pathways within Metro College. And I can say Kim and I would love to talk to anybody who is interested in that idea of getting this really skilled worker from UPS and providing them with a career pathway. We have benefited from the talents and the knowledge of an employer like Norton, and we know there's other folks out there in other industries that could do some similar great work with Metro.
Well, thank you guys. You all have kind of already started the commercial for me, and so I'll add this to the chat box now. But last year, GLI hosted a Barriers to Work think tank where we convened 50 different community leaders from the private sector, nonprofit, public sector, and we looked at what are the most salient barriers in our community that are preventing people from fully participating in the labor force and engaging in these pathways to upward mobility. And one of the most prioritized solutions that came out of that group was this idea of a career acceleration network. As we were moving through this process, I think simultaneously you all were building out this official partnership. So it came to my attention that these amazing leaders in our community, Courtney, Kim, Christy, they had basically already built what we are trying to support on a much more regional structure here in this community, and that is to pull more employers into this type of work. We're very much in an exploratory phase around this concept, but in a nutshell, it is partnerships between employers that provide pathways of upward mobility from lower wage, lower skilled jobs to higher wage, family supporting wage careers. And so I've added the flyer there that was just completed yesterday, just in time for our event, to the chat box. So take a look at it. Please reach out if you're interested in having some of these conversations, whether it be with UPS or with additional employers in the community. We're happy to help facilitate some of these conversations and help employers as they kind of overcome the barriers, align their mission and values, and develop these structures to help create equitable pathways of advancement for all members of our community. So I will leave it at that, but I want to give a huge thank you to Kim, Christy, Courtney. You all are an inspiration. I appreciate you all being here so much and appreciate your passion. And I hope that it inspires other employers in our community to step up and really upskill our neighbors, our friends, our community here in Greater Louisville. So thank you so much. And please, if you all have questions, don't hesitate to email me. AML, thank you for your support. Hin, thank you for your support. We are excited to continue these events. We actually have another event around upskilling your current workforce through JCTC's Workforce Solutions, Ivy Tech's Workforce Solutions, U of L Upskilling, Purdue's Upskilling, and the Microsoft Future of Work Initiative next week. So check that out on our events page. Thank you again, everyone. David, Derek, appreciate you guys being here and hope you guys have a great weekend. Oh, and Sydney's put the survey in the chat box. Please let us know what you thought about the event. We'll be sending out that survey and we use it to craft our content to better meet your needs. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you.